Hey everybody, my name is Jim Ellis, film composer for Test. So yeah, one of the hardest parts about uh, working in film, when I write for orchestra, band, or choir, something that's outside of film or television, you sort of have free reign to express and develop ideas and themes as you want to. Obviously, sometimes you're hired to write a certain style or a certain way. An orchestra might ask you to do that, or a choir, or what have you. With film, one of the biggest things, as opposed to, if an orchestral director came to me and said, "Hey, we would like an opening piece, 3 or 4 minutes long, something with some energy," that's basically what you get. But you get this musical idea from a musical person. One of the biggest challenges with film and television is often you're working with filmmakers and producers who don't have a music background, and so we have this communication thing where they probably have an idea in their head, or they're thinking of something, and they try to articulate it in a way that makes sense to them, and that doesn't always translate musically. And so that's one of the biggest collaborative challenges when working in film and television. And so this was no different. Uma had very specific ideas on some things and gave me some free reign and freedom, artistic freedom on some others, and trying to match what he was trying to tell me to what it sounded like in the finished product was a challenge. And so there's always rewrites, there's always challenges, there's always things along the way with that. That's usually the hardest part with film is really just kind of getting that going. I think the most memorable part of this whole process was when Uma and I had a spotting session, and we did it over the phone because we had some distance between us. And we started, I don't know, 10 o'clock in the evening or something like that. And we got done about 3 a.m. So it was about a 5+ hour spotting session. A spotting session is when you go through the entire film with the director, producer, and you say, "This is where I want the music to start. This is what I want it to stop. This is what I'm looking for." The filmmaker may say, "This is what I'm looking for thematically or mood-wise," and we'd love you to sort of echo that. And at the end of that, you have a list. In this case, it was 4 pages of music cues, which ended up translating into just under, I think, 70 minutes of music for the film. And so that was a big challenge getting through that spotting session, but it was also memorable. I loved Uma's passion from the very beginning of what he wanted to further this story. And that's really what film scoring is. We're just another element of storytelling, and we want to support that as best we can. And that spotting session was fantastic, and I loved his commitment not only during production but in post production as well. It's been a long time coming, and thrilled to see the finished product. Yeah, so the themes and how we develop themes as film composers, and you know, since we were ever old enough to watch movies, we always have music that we hear, and it instantly takes us to a place in the film. I mean, sometimes it's just one note. Think of the beginning of Lion King. When you hear that shout, right, you instantly know that you're being taken to the savannah in Africa. And when you hear the Pink Panther theme or Star Wars, Star Wars, you instantly know, based on the music, when Darth Vader is about to enter that Imperial March that John Williams created. Embodies sort of Darth Vader. Darth Vader doesn't really exist to that extent without the music. And Jurassic Park and Harry Potter, Forrest Gump. So we have all of these different themes that we remember, and when we hear them outside the film, it instantly takes us to a character, a place, or a mood. And so Test was no different. Developing themes in films helps further the story in a big way. And with Test, we really had 3 main themes. The Test theme we called was just 3 notes. Bing, bong, bong. Bing, bong, bong. So, we have that Test theme. Well, why just 3 notes? Why? That doesn't sound all that interesting, but there's a reason behind it. It's a storytelling reason to have just 3 notes sort of driving, repeating over and over and over again. Because the characters that all were experiencing their different versions of a test, Kurt's, Maggie's, Adams, and all the secondary characters even had their own little battles, right? Paige was trying to get through her relationship with Kurt and reconciling the death of her daughter, and Adam with the PTSD, and his wife Ellen, and how their relationship was going to unfold. And so there's so many different tests along the way. So the reason why I stuck with three notes is because it was just relentless. It was arduous. It was driving, just like getting through anything difficult in life, is that if we don't keep plugging forward, even though it seems like we're not really getting anywhere, we are. And that's what that theme does. It sort of rests on those three notes. It rests for a while, and then it sort of resolves itself. And that's where that second chord sort of gives us an element of resolution or advancement in getting through that test. And so that's where that idea came from. Very intentional with that. The second main theme I love is just a really pretty sort of piano melody. It's carried by other instruments at different times in the film. And this one was about the relationship between Maggie and Kurt. It was that father-daughter relationship. And so I wanted to have something pretty and caring and loving, but still had some movement to it. And that when we remembered that relationship, we would remember it fondly because that's what Kurt did. And the whole test of getting through that for him was because he had that close bond with Maggie. And so just a simple piano melody. That's kind of the basic idea, and it appears a couple of different times. One interesting note about that is when Paige has her moment outside, and she begins to cry over the crumbling relationship with Kurt and the death of her daughter. That melody that we used there, I think, was a flute that carried the melody. It was actually that melody, except it was played 3 times slower on the flute. It still carried the melody. It still gave us a nice sort of fresh look at the theme, but put it in a slower, more somber state. And I kind of like the way that fleshed out as well. The third main theme was one that was actually going to be a little bit bigger deal when the ballet scene was going to be a little bit longer. And for time and clarity of storytelling, Uma decided to close that down a little bit. But it still makes an appearance a couple of times, and this was inspired by Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake because I loved that ballet. I loved the sound of that. And so the melody sort of rests in that, but it was this. So this sort of minor theme, and that was originally written for the ballet folks to record to, and I think we wrote, 7, 8, 9 minutes of music to record that ballet scene, and we only got to see a handful of it, but it's absolutely gorgeous, the work that the ballet folks did with choreographing that and working that. So those are the 3 main themes. There's some other secondary themes. There's some sounds that we hear over and over again, but those are the 3 basic ones. So hope you enjoyed that. Hey guys, again, my name is Jim Ellis, film composer, traditional composer. If you ever want to talk about music or film composing or anything like that, I'd love to talk to you about it. Feel free to reach out. Thanks.